I'm always looking for tough people to interview for the podcast. And who's more tough than a cowboy? When I heard that my brother, a cowboy through and through, was moving his cows and needed some help, I saw the perfect chance to meet some real mean grit cowboys. I invited myself.
Not a huge fan of horses, I won't tell them, but we'll see if I've got what it takes to be a cowboy.
And though my brother seemed hesitant, he let me tag along. As they prepped their saddles, I set up my camera. "You still good if I record?" I asked. "I don't mind if you record," he said, "but I'm not saying anything into a camera." Not ideal for a podcast. But maybe it's just a cowboy thing, like Curly from City Slickers, keeping his wisdom to himself. So instead of a traditional podcast, this episode comes in the form of cowboy poetry. Here's My Brother, the Cowboy by James Julian. Episode 6 of the Mean Grit Podcast. There once was a kid who just wanted to fight with every person and thing that came into sight. It wasn't with malice and hate that he fought, but the grit of hard work that his father had taught. He wrestled in high school, rode bulls just for fun. Broken bones and old scars are the medals he won. At 18, determined and mean, he moved to a new state. There was work to do, lessons to learn, and this kid couldn't wait. He did grunt work and labored from daybreak to dark, each day proving his fight was bigger than his bark. This kid is my brother, just younger than me, and I never understood why he wanted to be a cowboy.
Right to that. I mean, on the other side of that.
Horse riding, cow roping, boots and blue jeans. Country music, big trucks, bacon baked beans. I chased after money, moved overseas, but he preferred peace and the cool mountain breeze. There isn't much in common between him and I. Even as kids, we didn't see eye to eye. But we're still brothers. And I confidently know that there's only one person I would call if my car needed a tow. Although he seems mean and as tough as a bear, this cowboy is one that really does care. I was surprised when he let me come with him to move his 40 head of cattle. I had something to prove. Could I be as tough as a cowboy for just one day? Riding a horse out on the range? I don't like riding horses.
I can't believe these guys got me on a horse.
But they said it must be. So they gave me a small brown horse named Chili. Despite multiple times saying, "No thanks, I'll just walk," the cowboys insisted there was no time to balk. So they saddled up Chili, because I didn't know how, and we headed on out to round up the cows. When you plan to do a podcast with a cowboy, just beware. Asking questions will most likely result in blank stares. You can't ask a cowboy what makes him so tough. Just have to watch him, and soon you'll know why he's rough. We rode out in silence. Hardly a word was spoken, until the first cows were spotted outside a fence that was broken. Ooh, I tried to balance the camera and ride all the same, but I fumbled around. The cowboy was slightly ashamed. I managed to stay up on the galloping horse as we circled the cows to get them back on the course. Ha! I survived my first task. The witness is born. He did his first cowboy shit. But my backside was sore. We moseyed along and got the cows home to a new set of pastures where they freely would roam. Tagging the new little cows was not easy. Filming for me was much more appealing. The dirt, the mud, cowboys, they had fun. But all I wanted to do was go for a run. To be a cowboy, you have to ride with no fear and be able to lasso a cow whilst holding your beer. You might be dealt trials and hardships in life. You've heard the songs. You lose your horse, your dog, your wife. I'm not tough enough to be a cowboy, they said. So I got off my horse and ran 11 miles instead. I was free on the trails, running straight to exhaustion. Crazy, they called me, and that's when it happened. I realized that day out on the range that everyone's hard can be different or strange. Grit can come in many different forms. We're all climbing a different mountain in the face of a storm. Your mountain is different than mine, and that's okay. We all face different trials day after day. I don't want yours, and you don't want mine. I'll stay to my trails, and you to your horses. That's fine. What to you might seem easy, to others is hard. Don't get discouraged, let down, or marred. Keep fighting your fight, your own place to sit, at a table with friends who share that mean grit. I'm glad I could be a cowboy, though the hours were few. Instead of the boots, I'll keep the trail running shoes. The range is his playground, where my brother will play. And if you ask me, you guarantee that I'll say, cowboys are tough, the meanest of mean. But if you prove yourself, you're part of the team. And people will come from all over to help you, to do the hard things that nobody dares to. My brother is the example that I need. Don't worry about money, power, or greed. Work hard to work hard. You sleep better that way. When you've given your all